Golden day, Kodak. Good afternoon. Hello. I'm gonna bring up a subject that I didn't think I'd be bringing up, but there is some pagan historical aspect to this, so I have some purview to talk on this. I'm not an expert, but I have done a lot of digging. It's how I've come to the, point that I'm at now, is by doing research. Now, people who can do different research can come to different conclusions. If you have different conclusions to me, let me know. You never know. Some of our conclusions might actually marry together on many details, and there's something to be said for looking at different stories, seeing the details that are the most similar, matching them together, and they quite often make you come out with the closest to the original story. Amazing. But anyway, let's take this from a historical aspect for a second. Immigration and migration. Whilst there's okay. How do you think people got to this island in the first place? Because I'm telling you now, no matter what you believe, we did not sprout out of the ground here. We evolved as a species in Africa. We moved through several different directions at several different periods in our history from Africa to Europe. We spread through Europe. The Ice Ages came. We spread back down. We came back. Britain has been inhabited before the Ice Age, and then the Ice Age happened, and they moved out, and then they came back when the ice receded again. When Doggerland was still above the waves. And Britain was still actually connected to the mainland continent. Now, the waves of migration over and over again, over thousands of years. The different Mesolithic peoples, the hunter-gatherer peoples that inhabited this island, before it was an island, and the ones who survived afterwards. Then the Neolithic peoples came. Some called it were cultures and whatnot. But the Neolithic peoples came, and they made things like Stonehenge and Newgrange and various. You go up to the Orkneys and the top of Scotland, throughout Scotland, to be honest, throughout the British Isles, there are evidences with barrows and all sorts, standing stones, great big massive circles like the ones you find at Avebury and elsewhere. Now, in respects of pagan culture, as with the influences that you use today, it's more mainly drawn from the Celtic peoples, Brittonic and Gaelic. The Vikings, the Saxons, the Angles, the Frisians, the Utes. Wave after wave of migration. That's how this country was built. Now, this isn't me being woke, because I am understanding what woke is. This is not woke, this is factual history. And if you want to argue against it, you are the one being the snowflake. Waves and waves of migration over thousands of years to this island. And then you get these idiots now saying, oh, we can't let any more in. despite the fact there's plenty of space, and despite the fact that of the major European countries, we take one of the least, or if not the least, we're right at the bottom of that list. The answer to it, and why is this happening? Xenophobia. Engineered xenophobia. The Grenfell Towers is a bit of a segue, but there is a link here. I do believe that one of the contributing factors to what led to that and the various other fires is the fact that we're living in these massive towers. Why are we living in these massive towers that are that big? Why? Because we are building up around metropolitan areas in a substantial way, and being forced to do so because the suburban conservative elite, not always conservative, but majority of conservative elite. Oh, you can't build in the green belt. You can't build anywhere else where we want you to. We don't want to see it. What we don't want to see. I don't give a fuck what you don't want to see. I'm just as British as you, but I want people to live in safety. Overcrowding in the metropolitan areas is one contributing factor. It's not the biggest factor. I never proposed it to be that it is so, but it is a contributing factor. You know, why don't we build up in a more sustainable way? Because of greed. And that also leads back to immigration. It's greed. Oh, we've got what we want. We don't want other people coming over and taking it. I thought this was a fantastic country. Oh, well, I thought we were very welcoming people. Now, I'm not saying that the pagan peoples were always welcoming, but you know, unlike the former years of where we used to view early medieval history as people who didn't have any contact with the outside world, and pre-medieval history as well in Britain, where we didn't have any contact with people from across the channel. Fucking bollocks. There's evidence to show we've had contact with the rest of Europe, including the Mediterranean, for at least 3,000 years. So don't fucking try that fucking bollocks with me. That's no argument at all. Well, obviously it is an argument. It's a fucking futile one because it's bullshit. It can easily be proved wrong. There are plenty of people out there like, oh no, but it's definitely true. It's not. Stop deluding yourselves. Most of the people in this country have, if you go back far enough, your ancestors come from the continent. No, everyone in this country comes from somewhere else of origin. Now, I say that paganism is a native religion, is a native culture and religion to this island, but it's one of many that have evolved in Britain over the years as the immigrants came over, as the migrants came over. Immigration and migration has been a natural part of British history for all of its populated life. And now the Tories and other right-wingers are saying, oh, but we can't let them all in. We don't let them all in anyway. We actually don't. In certain areas, there are a build-up of so, people are seeing more people, but for a while our population was still growing. The world's population is growing. Not in some places, better in others, but it's not the point. Our population is growing. The world population is still growing larger. Immigration, to fight it, is stupid. It is actually stupid. Controlled immigration, I can see I can see the argument for it. I really can. But that doesn't mean we have to be draconian about it. It doesn't mean we have to be Tory about it. Think about it. People might complain about wages and stuff, but the economy was growing throughout the last Labour government. Through all of it. All of the data shows that throughout the time that Labour were last in government, there was constant economic growth. Not explosive growth, but constant growth. Ever since the Tories took over with the Lib Dems, and it's been Tories ever since. It's up, down, up, down. It was down, up, down, 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 level, up, down, and staying at a level. And then it started to rise a bit before the pandemic, but again, not at a substantial rate. Our economy has been fucked ever since these supposed economically literate people took over. So who really is the economically literate ones? Eh? Who are these economic ones? Are these economically literate people? Are they them? Or are they the people who helped the economy grow? Ridiculous. We were on an upward trajectory. That was partly because of immigration, whether you like it or not. And as I said, from a pagan perspective, well, the rich pagan culture we have now is, their influences from peoples that migrated to this island over thousands of years. That's a major link. That's how we can, argue in politics. That's a policy area we can talk about. Immigration. Now, yes, again, I'm not saying free immigration. Now let the floodgates open. That is not what I am saying. Extremist assholes like to try and put it off that way, but it is not that way. Not at all. But look at the economic situation we're in. Right? Look at the economic situation certain other countries similar to us are in, that still have a more open immigration policy than ours. They have a way bigger bounce back. Why? Because they have a larger fucking workforce. Most countries today that are economically successful do not rely on their native workforce. And it is utterly stupid and economically illiterate to think that that's how we can get along, by just relying on our native workforce. When our population is shrinking, when you're deregulating everything, it's stupid. And don't tell me I'm wrong either, because I'm drawing on actual facts. And whilst, again, as I get a little bit more literate with this stuff, I will be putting up links. But I would suggest that you go and look for it yourself. And do not go and look for it on an unbiased view. Not from my point of view, not from a right-wing point of view, from a neutral, central point of view. Unbiased. Make your research actually mean something when you find something. Because all of the facts say that our history and our future, partly rely on immigration and migration. And the xenophobic people in this country that refuse to see that are actually selfish people. They don't give a fuck about the rest of society. Not really. They believe the elites ought to be elites. Don't just believe what people tell you. I'm putting this information out there, but I'm also putting the suffix in of go and research this yourselves. And no kind of what did they call it? The Christians and the Jews? Messiah. I'm no Messiah. This is wisdom, but not, I'm not Messiah. I'm just someone who is paying attention. Immigration is important to this country. And these idiots in charge, I mean, Boris Johnson was one of the worst culprits. He was born in America, for fuck's sake. The arrogance is astounding. You can call me arrogant if you like. I don't give a fuck. But this is TCHT, the cold, hard facts. And people don't like to hear the cold, hard facts. That's one of my life mottos, is TCHT, and one of the TCHTs that I have found is that immigration is important to the way we run our economy and building our culture. No, fucking how did Christians come here? Come on, how did Christians come here? They migrated. Don't fucking give me bullshit. Go and do your own fucking research, and then try and argue with me. This isn't arrogance talking. This is frustration with stupid people. And these are the kind of people who are in charge. We need to get away from this xenophobic behaviour. And what if they come over here and steal all our jobs? Well, if you're afraid of people stealing jobs, work. I'm working on my own job future, taking several different routes. A couple of at least one of them's not one I ever thought I'd go down, but there you go. But and this, this isn't a lot. This is just, I don't get paid for this. I just feel that a pagan voice needs to be added to the conversation, because I don't hear any other pagan voices in major conversations. We need to come out of the shadows. The shadow Rita, the shadow wisdom needs to become known wisdom as well. I call myself Shadow Rita, the shadow wise man. because I am a wise man that's kept in the shadows of society, because people don't want to know. They don't want to know the TCHT. They can't take the TCHT. It hurts. Life hurts. Life is also really cool. You can't always have it one way or another. It never is. It also ties into absolutism. You can't have things as absolutes. No one ever fucking does. Not really. If they do think that they have that the absolutes are absolutes, then then it's an illusion. And one of these big illusions is that immigration is a big evil. Is it? Show me the evidence, the factual evidence of why immigration is evil. Because I can pull evidence of how xenophobia is evil from all over history, including our current history, our recent history. So fucking good luck. Open your fucking eyes. See with some clarity. See with the bigger picture. That's something that not a lot of people actually give a damn about. It's the bigger picture. But, it's helping me to restructure my life. Slowly, but I'm getting there. I am actually getting there, slowly. Because I'm really looking towards the bigger picture. We're all so insulated. We've all become so. I do believe in, as I say, I will always propone for individual liberty. But there is something to be said for being part of the society that you are actually in. And society doesn't just mean a makeup of one culture. It doesn't. Or at the very least, it doesn't fucking have to. Yes, I'm a proponent of Western Germanic paganism in the respect, in context of its culture, being more prominent in British society. That doesn't, and I mean, I do have very big issues with all three of the big Semitic religions and their cultures. But at the same time, just as others, their wisdom shows me that they've also added to our culture in some good ways. But it's funny because some of those good ways are like people like to say, "What about Christmas?" But that was born from a pagan celebration in the first place. So to say that they've added to our culture by taking something that was ours, making it theirs, and then saying that they've added to our culture. It's ridiculous. It is actually ridiculous. We can't. It doesn't mean you can't. Y'all doesn't mean that kids can't celebrate. Some spirit that comes around your time. So, why the reticence? Why the constant ridicule? This is white people picking on other cultures who are also of white skin in their own country. This is in a way, it's almost as bad as worse than what's going on in America. Yes, there are. It's not not with the multiracial, the race on race, but is it intra-race in its own race? The white English people aren't just one homogenous people. There are several different, there's several different cultural makeups there. I'm not going necessarily on genetics, but cultural. And quite a few of us are marginalised within that. But it doesn't mean we're not British, that we're not English, or Scottish, Welsh, Cornish, Northern Irish, Irish in general. Britain, just even if you got rid of the white people, there would still be different cultures here. If you got rid of, if there was just white people here, there would still be different cultures here. You can point to many different points in our history where that is true. Now, it's going on for a bit, but like I said, I thought the subject of immigration should be well covered, at least in part by someone of a pagan outlook. Other pagans might have different views to me. Ask for their reasoning, ask for their logic. I'm not saying that I'm necessarily right in everything that I've said, but everything I've said is drawn from facts. As far as I am concerned, it is TCHT, the cold hard truth. If you don't believe me, do your own research. This has been another serious subject. There are a lot of serious subjects that we pagans actually do have a voice in, if we choose to have a voice in it. I don't speak for all pagans, and I've never said that I did, so I don't want any accusations of such. But as a pagan, and as a pagan who has not heard any other pagan speakers in public talk about these issues, I feel one of us needs to put something out there. Again, I hope this hits home with someone. I hope everyone has a good day. I hope everyone's surviving well, and a blessed Smith.